Hello everyone, and welcome to our Nautobot community meeting for August 2022. As you may have heard, we shipped 1.4 a little over a week ago, and the first patch release of this series earlier this week. We hope you've gotten a chance to take a look at all the new features we released. It's always exciting hearing what problems you're solving or workflows you've been able to streamline with Nautobot. Feel free to let us know what some of your favorite enhancements have been so far. We wanted to take a moment to show you some of the features we didn't get to highlight leading up to the release of 1.4. The features we'll be showcasing today are extended filtering for custom fields, Nautobot UI Viewset, and notes. Let's start by taking a look at extending filtering for custom fields. Nautobot already comes with some baked-in magic for exposing a variety of lookup expressions based on the field type on a model. Some such filters, like listing all devices that begin with certain letters, or prefixes smaller than, say, a /24. Now you can perform similar lookup expressions on custom fields. Let's check out an example. Here I've created a custom field for an in-service date for devices, cables, and circuits. I've already gone ahead and updated a few devices that all have their own in-service date. For example, this one is input in service on August 1st. This device is input in service August 2nd. Now, as before, I could always scroll down on the right hand side, find my custom field, and search for the date that I knew that I put this device in service. But that's not useful if I'm looking for devices that have been put in service after a particular date. All I have to do now is apply the lookup expression on the filter name that I'm looking to filter on. For example, here I'm going to search for any in-service date after July 30th. And here I have my devices that were all put in service after that date. Doing this through the UI isn't intuitive at this time, but we're looking at improving that end user experience in the near future. These filters, though, are also exposed on the API as well, providing a much tighter integration with your data for reporting and automating. If you're curious to know which lookup expressions are supported on your custom field, or for any field for that matter, please feel free to check out the filtering section of our REST API documentation under the lookup expression section. Next, let's check out a new plugin-focused framework feature, Nautobot UI Viewset. If you're familiar with building new plugin-provided models, you'll quickly become aware how much copy and pasted boilerplate code has been necessary to perform the basic operations such as list, display, and edit those models. Extending to bulk operations, this can quickly cause a lot of bloat in what's necessary to store and expose more information in Nautobot. That's why we've introduced the Nautobot UI Viewset. This feature is one of the many steps we are taking to make it even easier for new and seasoned Python developers to build on top of Nautobot. To put the Nautobot UI Viewset to the test, we converted the circuit section of views over to use Nautobot UI Viewsets and its mixins. Let's take a look at the provider model and its views. We have been able to reduce the amount of code necessary to define the views in half. What was once just shy of 60 lines is now just 28. And it's not just about reducing the number of lines of code, but also the reduction of duplication and potential typos. Definitions like the query set, the form class, filter set class, all this is done once for the entire view set. And it's not just the views either. In tandem, we released the Nautobot UI Viewset router. If you use Nautobot UI Viewsets or a subsection of its bases and mixins, you can now define all of your common CRUD and bulk routes in a single line. This used to be accomplished by 36 lines defining the paths for each of these routes. This is now just a single line by registering the view set to the router itself. Again, reducing complexity and increasing consistency. It's also possible to only need a subset of the views the Nautobot UI Viewset contains. Instead of inheriting from Nautobot UI Viewset, just inherit from the mixins that are relevant to your model. For example, the circuit termination UI Viewset doesn't need bulk operations at this time, so it only inherits from the detail, edit, and destroy view mixins. You can still use the same single line in your router, and Nautobot will automatically introspect your viewset for which actions it supports. There's a lot more in-depth details to using this powerful feature, so please check out our developer documentation for more information. Finally, let's wrap up with notes. Almost all models support notes, and plugin models can be extended to support them too. A new Notes tab appears in the user interface, letting you see what notes have been left on this model, who it's been left by, and when. Notes are fully change logged and editable. After updating this, I can go back and look at the changelog and see my modification. Notes are also published as nested routes on the object's detail API endpoint to facilitate quick lookups for this related object. And as always, notes have their own routes as well under the extras section. To leave a note on an object, simply visit the object's detail view, click on the Notes tab, type in your note, and click Create. It's that easy. This feature came out of an internal Network to Code hackathon. If you have a great idea for what you'd like to see in Nautobot, never hesitate to open a feature request or even a pull request. There's plenty more in Nautobot 1.4 than what we've covered in the last few community meetings, so please head over to the release notes for more information. We've already broken ground on Nautobot 1.5 and are hoping to have it out towards the end of September. We're aiming for some stability enhancements as well as some polish around V1 series before we head into 2.0 with 1.5. You can follow along in GitHub and be sure to keep an eye out for our alpha and beta announcements if you're interested. Thank you all for watching this month's community meeting. We'll be in our Slack channel for additional conversations. Happy automating!